November 24, 1971. In an era when commercial aviation relied more on a handshake than a background check, a man in a dark business suit walked up to the Northwest Orient counter in Portland. He paid cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle and signed the name Dan Cooper. After settling into seat 18E with a bourbon and 7-Up, Cooper handed a note to the flight attendant. When she didn't open it, he leaned in to tell her he had a bomb. He cracked open a briefcase just enough for her to see a tangle of wires and red cylinders. His requirements were precise: $200,020 bills and 4 parachutes, and a flight path toward Mexico City at the lowest possible altitude. Following a refueling stop in Seattle, where the money was delivered, Cooper ordered the crew back into the sky. Somewhere over the dark wilderness of Washington state, he lowered the Boeing 727's aft stairs, exposing the cabin to the freezing night air. At 10,000 feet, in the middle of a heavy rainstorm, Cooper stepped off the ramp and vanished. The sheer logic of the heist and the clean, mechanical nature of the escape immediately moved Cooper past the realm of air piracy and into the center of an enduring American mystery. The FBI's response was massive. They utilized everything from local search parties to a submarine in Lake Merwin, and even deployed an SR-71 Blackbird to scour the flight path with high-altitude photography. Yet ground teams found nothing. No discarded chute, no briefcase, and no sign of a landing site in the thousands of acres of rugged forest. To this day, the case remains the only documented instance of air piracy in commercial aviation history to go entirely unsolved. With the physical manhunt reaching a dead end, investigators were forced to pivot, attempting to build a profile of the man using only the few artifacts he left behind on the plane. The first clues were the parachutes. Cooper demanded 4 of them, 2 primaries and 2 reserves. It was a calculated move to discourage authorities from providing sabotaged gear, as it implied he might force a hostage to jump with him. But his technical knowledge had a limit. When agents inspected the remaining gear in Reno, they realized Cooper had cut apart a non-functional dummy training parachute to secure the money bag, while leaving a perfectly airworthy reserve chute on the aircraft. This specific error narrowed the FBI's search. A master paratrooper would have easily identified the dummy rig in an instant. This suggested Cooper wasn't an elite jumper, but perhaps someone with functional secondary aviation experience, like an Air Force cargo loader. This portrait of a man who was technically proficient but lacked specialized skydiving expertise became the foundation of the Bureau's suspect profile. He was a planner who understood the mechanics of the 727, yet was willing to risk a high-altitude jump into a storm while wearing a business suit and loafers. While Cooper was careful to take his notes and cigarette butts with him, he left one item behind: a black JCPenney clip-on tie. In 2009, nearly 40 years after the jump, a team of researchers used electron microscopy to search the tie's fibers for evidence invisible to the naked eye. They discovered over 900 metallic particles trapped in the fabric, like unalloyed titanium and cerium. In 1971, these were found almost exclusively in aerospace facilities, like Pacific Northwest Boeing contractors developing supersonic transports. These particles grounded the mystery in a local industrial reality. They suggested Cooper wasn't a drifter, but a local aerospace employee who used his intimate knowledge of Boeing's engineering to plan his escape. We're about to look at the only portion of the ransom ever found. But first, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into the evidence behind history's greatest mysteries. In 1980, the case resurfaced at a riverbank known as Tina Bar. A young boy digging for a campfire found 3 bundles of the ransom cash, totaling nearly $6,000, still held together by deteriorating rubber bands. The location was a problem. Tina Bar is upstream from the suspected drop zone. Furthermore, algae found on the bills only blooms in springtime, indicating the money entered the water months after the November jump. This leaves the ultimate fate of Cooper in a deadlock. Did he survive the winter and stash the cash, or did his remains and the money only reach the river once the spring thaw began? In 2016, the FBI officially suspended the active investigation. They had processed over 1,000 suspects and built a 66-volume case file, yet the man and the rest of the money remained missing. While the man disappeared, his actions prompted a transition in how we fly. Commercial aviation moved from a system of informal trust to one of standardized surveillance. Within 2 years of the jump, the FAA required universal baggage searches and the installation of metal detectors at every major airport in the United States. The crime even forced a physical change to the aircraft itself. All Boeing 727s had to be retrofitted with a device called the Cooper vane. It's a simple aluminum blade that uses aerodynamic pressure to lock the aft stairs. As the aircraft gains speed, the wind forces the vane into place, making it impossible to lower the stairs while in flight. Cooper exploited a specific window of vulnerability in the American aviation system. By showing the world exactly how it could be done, he ensured that no one would ever be able to do it again. Thank you for watching The Forensic Blueprint.